I would say the vast majority of my audience is very, very hopeful for the future. The election of President Trump has been just already, we're seeing shockwaves. We're already seeing results even at this early stage, but there are still concerns. He can't do everything. He's going to do everything in his vast power to protect us, to protect our nation, to defend the Constitution, to protect our freedoms. But that doesn't mean that there won't be risks, challenges. We're already seeing wars popping up and rumors of wars popping up across the globe. Will he be able to stop all of them? I think so. But what if he can't? What if, for whatever reason, cooler minds, cooler heads don't prevail and we find ourselves in the midst of something tragic? What about natural disasters? What about just the idiocy of the globalist regimes across this planet that are trying to do everything they can to destroy our food supply? They want to control the food, and they want to make sure that we're not eating the good stuff, especially as it pertains to protein, and specifically as it pertains to beef. Beef cows seem to be the main culprit for every boogeyman propagating bad guy out there. As a part owner of an all-American, patriotic, freeze-dried steak company, I am very, very blessed, pleased, and honored to be able to offer my wonderful audience an opportunity to take advantage. If you go to worldviewbeef.com and use promo code JDR, you will get the maximum possible discount. And there are other discount codes out there that are less. It's not like with certain companies where, it doesn't matter which promo code you use. Use JDR. I own the company. Use promo code JDR and get the maximum discount at any given moment at worldviewbeef.com. All American, no mRNA jabs. It's just the good stuff. So check it out, worldviewbeef.com. You're listening to the JD Rucker Show. Let's begin. We bounced through a few different drone theories over the past few days, and some of them make sense, some of them don't. We're just going to keep going with them. This latest one comes from an account that posted to X, and then subsequently deleted the posts as well as their account, which of course makes everything sound interesting. I'm not suggesting that just because an account gets deleted after posting a very conspiratorial post that's proof that they are correct or accurate. That would make it way too easy to spread misinformation. Just build an account, post something crazy, and then once it starts getting traction, delete it and then spread the rumors, right? But with that said, this one makes a little bit of sense. I don't know if it makes the most sense, but it makes some. And a lot of people are thinking, oh man, this is it. So story comes from therightscoop.com. Person explains what the mysterious drones are and why they're being used, then deletes their account. A person on X by the name of Jersey Futures claimed to know exactly what the mysterious drones are flying over New Jersey and explained it all before suddenly deleting their account. Bob's News, a different X account, screenshotted the tweets and said, in his opinion, this is the most believable reason for all the drones. That doesn't mean this is true, but it is interesting. So according to Jersey Futures, the account that has now gone, I'm one of a few groups of people who know exactly what the drones are in New Jersey. This tweet will go into the void as I have no followers, but I'll share anyways. Please retweet for reach. What you're seeing are American-made HPGE nuclear detector drones. They can detect the presence of gamma rays miles away. But what are gamma rays? I think everybody knows what a gamma ray is. Let's skip ahead. In the late 2000s, the DoD needed a response to the threat of dirty bombs from ISIS. Well, we'll see about that. I would say just dirty bombs in general, but whatever. Coming into our ports in New York and New Jersey, they've been stocking up on these drones for a while. Some were deployed to Ukraine when Russia threatened the use of dirty bombs. They look weird because they're heavy and have giant cryo coolers mounted and giant horn antennas to communicate on wave frequencies that can't be jammed. This is where I come in. The technology these drones use have few suppliers, both for wave equipment and for the high purity germanium. The same suppliers that are the backbone of my industry. So, what are they doing? Collecting information in how public will react, a PSYOP, and testing their ability to sweep a port city like New York for dirty bombs. So, what are they doing? Collecting information in how public will react. Oh, we already covered that. Jersey was chosen because we're the closest port to New York, and New York would be too dense for reliable wave communications. But why is the DoD silent? Again, because in a scenario we have a threat of a dirty bomb and the public doesn't yet know, the DoD needs to know how the public would react if these were deployed to sweep a city. In other words, he's saying that there is no risk of dirty bombs, but they're testing it out. And I would say that if it's true, it's not just testing it out, it's normalizing it. So that if, they throw these out there, and then if there is, say, a risk of a dirty bomb or a suspected dirty bomb, they deploy them again, and everybody's like, oh, great, here we go, another drone situation. Last time it happened, it was really annoying for a couple of months, then it died, and now a few months later, they're back. That would be the response. People wouldn't be as concerned. Right now, people are still terrified. And like I said, I would say of the theories that I've heard, this is somewhere in the middle, okay? As far as viability. I mean, viability, it's there. I mean, there's nothing that could possibly disprove this other than the truth coming out. And this could very well be the truth, for all I know. It's interesting as far as, and it does jibe with the idea that the government knows what they are. They just won't tell us because they're in the middle of an operation to again, not just test how people would react, how the public reacts to seeing these drones in the sky at night, but also to normalize it for a future use. Again, like I said, I would put this in the middle of the pack. Not the least likely, but not the most likely either. Still worth considering, and we're just going to throw it on the pile, add it to the list of possible scenarios that we're facing right now with all of these stupid drones. For years, even decades really, I've sworn that my wife and I would pick up and leave California, that we would go to greener pastures where our Bible-believing conservative worldview would be accepted, would be even embraced. A place where, I don't know, it's okay to love God, to love country, to love your family, instead of what we have to deal with here in the once great state of California. We've always said that we would do so as soon as the kids were grown and off on their own. But then, of course, we've continued to have kids every decade or so, and we've been doing that for a long time, and it doesn't seem to stop, and praise God for that. I'm not complaining. The kids are great, but with that said, we're not alone. Apparently, a whole lot of people have been leaving California, leaving New York, leaving Democrat hellholes across the country and going to red states, which isn't news. That's not like, oh, wow, that's crazy. But the thing that caught me about this next story is that it's been happening for 3 decades. I had no idea. I would have, if you'd asked me when did the blue state exodus start, I would have said probably during the Obama years. Okay, probably during, right around the time when maybe Gavin Newsom really started destroying San Francisco and the state of California, and then, of course, the entire state of California as governor itself. But no, it's been happening for a long time. This article, which we have over at conservativeplaylist.com, IRS data reveals mass exodus from Democrat-run blue states over the past 3 decades. In a clear testament to the impact of progressive policies, IRS data has unveiled a significant migration of millions from blue states to red states over the last 30 years. According to analysis by the American Enterprise Institute, a think tank committed to free market principles and human dignity, this blue state exodus is driven by escalating problems like high crime rates, unaffordable housing, sky-high taxes, and increasing homelessness and unemployment in states dominated by Democrat governance. Now note that all of them, are economic indicators. Even the high crime. People will say, well, crime is driven by criminals, but in many cases, at least a good chunk of the criminals are driven by their own personal economic conditions. So we can have that debate some other day. I believe it to be true, and I have actually seen it to be true, but that's a different discussion. Back to the article. The data spanning from 1990 to 2021 indicates that California and New York have lost an astonishing 4.6 million residents each, with many relocating to states like Florida and Texas, which have lower taxes, less regulation, and policies more aligned with conservative values. Edward J. Pinto, a senior fellow at AEI, points out that his migration trend is not just about people. They're taking their incomes with them, further straining the tax bases of the states they leave behind. And that's, look, I hate to say it, but that's not our concern. If they really wanted to improve their tax base, they would embrace freedom. They would embrace business and human-based policies that avoid wokeness, that avoid climate change being the ultimate god to determine what you can and cannot do. They would not be so embracing of the LGBTQIA plus supremacy agenda. They would say, hey, this is what we can do to make the state better by making businesses and people better. And as a result, the state will get better. It's not difficult. But again, this isn't news. I think most everybody knew that. I wanted to do this story to offer not even a warning, really a threat. If you're leaving these blue states, if you're going to Florida or Texas or Utah or wherever, and you're thinking that you're going to bring your progressive ideas with you, don't. Just stay in California. I'll be here. You can still argue with me, and I'll be happy to have a debate about why you're so wrong. Obviously, I have a certain level of concern regarding the various scenarios surrounding the so-called drones in New Jersey and across the nation, as I'm sure the vast majority of you do as well. We have different degrees of concern. Many are not concerned at all, whether it's because they just think, oh, they're just drones, or they're not paying attention, they don't know anything about it. Maybe they know a lot about it and they think, hey, nothing we can do about it, so we might as well just sit back and wait to see what happens. Then there are those that are in full-blown panic mode, which I don't think is very many. I haven't heard a whole lot of true panic yet. We haven't reached the stage of mass hysteria just yet. But if this continues, we can get there, because here's the thing. It's not so much that we're concerned. We haven't seen any reason to believe that they are a direct threat on anyone, and the government keeps saying they're not a threat to national security, they're not a threat to public safety. We don't know what they are, except we know that they're not a threat. That, of course, doesn't make any sense. But until we start seeing anything more direct, any actual attacks or anything like that, then I think the concern level is still sort of steady. We're anxious, but we're not panicking just yet. One of the scenarios, though, that does have me most concerned is the idea that these are truly advanced technology, far more advanced than drones. They're pretending to be drones or manned aircraft of some sort. They've got the lights of drones. They kind of move around like drones, but then sometimes they don't. And that's a story over at dailymail.co.uk caught my attention. What is the title? New Jersey sheriff sent its own drone to follow mystery aircraft. What happened next was petrifying. I don't know about petrifying, but it was a concern. Now the video, you may have already seen the video. The News Nation did a fantastic job, and the reporter there was directly involved in getting the story out to the masses. He shot some of his own video, and then he got his cameraman involved. I'm not going to play it for copyright's sake. It's their video. I would urge you to find it and watch it. But with that said, according to this article from the Daily Mail, a New Jersey police department has sparked concerns after it revealed that a drone it sent up to track a mystery aircraft easily evaded their device before disappearing into thin air. Wow. That doesn't sound like a regular drone to me. Ocean County Sheriff Michael Mastronardo said his force launched its drone after one of his officers saw 50 unmanned aerial vehicles coming off the ocean. The officer dialed 911 to alert state police, the FBI, and the Coast Guard. The maritime agency then reported seeing 13 drones following their boat, estimating that the device had a wingspan of 8 feet, which is, the initial reports were that it's the size of a small SUV. I saw one report saying it's the size of like a 2-car garage. This sounds more realistic based upon the videos that I've seen. About an 8-foot wingspan. It's a big drone, but it's not huge. Mastronardo told News Nation's Rich McHugh the force put on an industrial-grade drone to follow one of the devices but it quickly slipped through their grasp. The incident is just one of many drone sightings concerning locals in the Garden State and beyond. It is not our military, or if this is not our military, then it's even more scary, McHugh said, and I agree with that. On Friday, White House National Security Communication Advisor John Kirby insisted that the public had nothing to fear despite the mass sightings. Kirby said most reports were likely to be cases where manned aircraft were mistaken for drones. And I've heard that narrative a couple of times. That doesn't pass the smell test at all, but we'll talk about that some other time. He admitted that officials were struggling to corroborate some of the sightings and urged the public to continue to submit reports of any unusual activity. Ocean County Sheriff's Office said it has been struggling to track the flying objects as they don't give off heat like regular drones. Now, let's not dismiss that. Okay? So they're using thermal imaging. They're trying to follow these drones. It's easier, especially at night, to follow anything based upon its thermal signature. You can lock onto it, you can find it, and then it's a lot easier to spot, especially up in the air. These aren't giving off heat. Now that, folks, that should alarm you greatly, because that tells us it's one of two things. I've thought through it, tried to figure it out, barring the ever so slight possibility that maybe their equipment was just faulty. Barring that, an object, a drone or any flying object, man-made flying object that we know of with our standard technology, with an 8-foot wingspan that can sustain flight, is going to give off a heat signature, even if it's just the battery or combustion engine. And we've heard possible reports of either. That's not good. Okay, so that tells us it's one of two things: either it's advanced technology, or it's an illusion. Now, and we're not going to jump straight into Project Bluebeam at this point, but it's something similar, some idea surrounding that. It makes sense. Now, here's the thing. When you have holograms require a light source, okay? And that light source is visible at the source itself. And you can see, like, there's no way to project light into the sky that then projects light elsewhere, unless you have a physical, at least based upon what we know about light and modern technology, that should be impossible. But then again, so should an object with an 8-foot wingspan not having enough of a heat signature despite being able to sustain flight for thermal imaging to catch it. So again, we're in this strange, what the heck's going on zone. We don't know, and this is a quote from one of the officers, we don't know why. It's not something we've had our hands on or experienced regarding the lack of a heat signature. McHugh also saw drones and presented his findings to Elizabeth Vargas reports, admitting the discovery left him stunned. If this is not the military, it is even more terrifying. These things look like they are fixed wing and they have multiple lights. I'm not sure how to process what I saw last night. Both the photographer and I were kind of stunned. Now, here's the thing. For those of us who aren't in New Jersey or in any of the areas that have witnessed these, if we haven't seen them firsthand, we're going off videos. And nighttime videos, despite all the advances in iPhones and all this stuff, nighttime videos suck. Okay? They just do. Even high-quality cameras generally can't pick up very easily, can't pick up these the details. We get blurry images, even if they're not too far away. The images are blurred. It's hard to distinguish, the outline. Usually, sometimes we can get sort of a pixelated image and get an idea, but nobody's been able to really. I haven't seen any images or videos that define a full-blown, definitive shape. Whether it's because of the angle, the quality of the camera, the lights, whatever. We've got an idea, but so far we haven't seen it. But here's the thing. The naked eye can and does pick that stuff up much better than a camera, if you have good enough vision. And so when you hear from eyewitnesses of these, generally speaking, they're all stunned. Nobody's like, oh, well, I saw it. It wasn't that big of a deal. No, everybody, and these are journalists, okay, including Harris Faulkner. She saw some herself, and she tried to film some. It's funny how the seasoned journalist just can't seem to film very well. I'm not going to play it, but her her filming skills are quite lacking. Anyway, but she did see them in person, and she was blown away as well. Everybody we've talked to, or not we've talked to, but everybody who's commented about that, who has physically seen them, in person, they seem to be blown away by it. And that too is obviously a big concern. I'm going to continue to cover this on my show, the JD Rucker Show. You can get to it by going to jdrucker.com/rumble. That's the best place to get it. Or I'm posting the vast majority of my stuff over at X as well lately. So x.com/JD Rucker. You can find the reports there. But obviously this is a story that I can't let go because, well, the possibilities are very concerning. The peculiarities are extremely interesting. So this story, despite the fact that it's been overplayed, everybody's talking about it, I'm going to try to dig deeper and get to the heart of it. But first, let's talk about some other news, just briefly, because there are other things happening in the world than just drones. So good stuff coming. A large group of Democrats has threatened to boycott the inauguration of Donald J. Trump as the 47th president of the United States. Now, we haven't heard from Donald Trump himself, but we have heard from Donald Trump Jr., whose response was apropos. He said, apparently, a large group of Democrat legislators plan to boycott my father's inauguration, which is great, as it will make room for a lot more actual patriots to attend. They have my complete and total endorsement to stay at home. Now, we do know there will be some people at the inauguration, just as there were last time President Trump was inaugurated. There will be people that are going to cause havoc, try to riot. I do hope that our Capitol Police, as well as possibly Secret Service and National Guard, will be ready this time, better prepared to prevent the destruction of property and possible harm to Americans who are there in attendance. We will see on January 20th.
I have one kid. You have 5 kids.
That's what you have.
How do you? That's incredible.
It's kind of like being an FBI agent. You're always kind of monitoring them and making sure everyone's safe.
Makes good sense. I'm actually a real agent. Well, not an agent. I'm actually a deputy sheriff.
Are you really?
Right there. Many years.
Are you serious?
For real life, real life.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you're a sheriff.
Yep.
Played at Princeton. Pro football player. Greatest superhero of all time.
Never drafted to Major League Baseball like you for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Thank you very much.
Knuckleballer. How do you hit a knuckleball?
You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
That's the whole point.
That's the beauty of it. We may have always played on different sides, being the superhero or the supervillain.
Supervillain.
But we have a lot more in common than I thought that we did.
Which is shocking, because one thing's for sure. Genesis Gold Group is a company that we both trust. They make safeguarding your IRA or your 401k as simple as possible. And I need simple,
That's right.
I'll be honest.
And with their stellar reputation, they're as solid as the gold that they sell.
Like this gold right here. So call Genesis Gold Group today at 1-800-200-GOLD.
I would say the vast majority of my audience is very hopeful for the future.
This is what they call
the
a
election
prepper
of President Trump.
So like you can break
has
off
been
these little pieces.
already
on
we're seeing
both sides.
shock.
That's great because you can carry
We're
that
already
small
seeing
and
results.
And you can
even
literally use it to
at
spend.
this early stage,
Like
but
this.
there are still concerns.
What?
This
He
is a
can't
big
do
film.
everything. He's going to do everything
Is that real?
in his
This is a real
vast
one.
power
It's heavy.
to protect us, to
Holy
protect our nation,
smokes.
to
That's
defend the
Great.
Constitution,
Yeah, you can get them one of those from Genesis
protect
Gold
our
yourself.
freedoms.
Hey, you guys see
That
this?
doesn't mean that there won't be
Dean,
risks, challenges.
Dean,
We're already seeing
Dean, that's my kid's college tuition
wars
money.
popping
Hold
up,
on.
and rumors of wars popping up across the globe. Will he be able to stop all of them? I think so. What if he can't? What if, for whatever reason,
the
cooler
supervillain
minds,
now, huh?
cooler
Yeah,
heads don't prevail,
that's my
and
goal,
we
Dean.
find ourselves in the midst of something tragic, about natural disasters? What about just the idiocy of the globalist regimes across this planet? On Sunday, Alejandro Mayorkas, everything they can, Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, our food supply, went on with George Stephanopoulos from ABC News, and they want to make sure that we're not eating the good stuff. Especially there was a slight change in the official narrative, specifically as it pertains to beef. Yeah, okay, so maybe some of y'all are seeing the main culprit for drones, every boogeyman, but it's not all propagating bad guy out there here and there and whatever. As a part of this is about, we need more authority to patriotic It's like freeze-dried
Wait,
steak
what?
company. I am very, very blessed,
it
pleased,
that
and honored to be
simple?
able to.
I mean,
offer
are we
you
really
all, offer my
going
wonderful
through all these
audience an
shenanigans?
opportunity
Is
to
this
take
all?
advantage.
Is it all just
If you go
kabuki
to
theater
worldviewbeef.com
so they can make a power grab in their last
and use
month
promo code JDR, you
before
will
he's
get
replaced
the
by Kristi
maximum
Noem?
possible discount.
I don't
And
know.
there are other
I think
discount
it's
codes
probably
out
just
there
a distraction,
that are less.
but
It's not
listen,
like with
before we
certain
discuss,
companies where,
listen
oh,
to
you know,
it,
it
and
doesn't
you
matter
tell
which
me,
promo
what do
code
you
you use.
think
Use
is
JDR.
really getting
I own the
at here?
company.
Let's bring in
Use
Homeland
promo
Security
code
Secretary
JDR and get
Alejandro
the maximum
Mayorkas. Mr.
discount
Secretary,
at
thank
any
you for
given
joining
moment
us,
at
this morning.
worldviewbeef.com.
Can you clear up
All
the confusion
American,
here?
no mRNA jabs.
Absolutely,
It's
George, and
just the
thank you
good
very
stuff.
much
So
for having
check
me.
it out,
There's no question that
worldviewbeef.com.
people are seeing drones, and I want to assure the American public that we in the federal government have deployed additional resources, personnel, technology to assist the New Jersey State Police in addressing the drone sightings. Some of those drone sightings are in fact drones. Some are manned aircraft that are commonly mistaken for drones, and we do see duplicative reporting. But there's no question that drones are being sighted. Let me set the record straight here, George. There are thousands of drones flown every day in the United States. Recreational drones, commercial drones. That is the reality. And in September of 2023, the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, changed the rules so that drones could fly at night. And that may be one of the reasons why now people are seeing more drones than they did before, especially from dawn to dusk. And so that is the reality. But I want to assure the American public that we are on it. We are working in close coordination with state and local authorities. And it is critical, as we all have said for a number of years, that we need from Congress additional authorities to address the drone situation. Our authorities currently are limited, and they are set to expire. We need them extended and expanded.
What exactly do you need?
We want state and local authorities to also have the ability to counter drone activity under federal supervision. That is one important element that we have requested, and we've heard it echoed by the state and local officials themselves.
Let's bring in Homeland.
So I'm going to go with, this is just a way to add another talking point to get people like me out there saying, oh, they're making a power grab. Because the alternative is, if this isn't a distraction, if this isn't just political doublespeak, then we're in trouble. Okay, because the only reason they would make a power grab at this stage, a month before leaving office, is if they don't intend to leave office. And I'm not ready to go down that particular rabbit hole, not until we see any more evidence of that. No, I think this is really just a way for them to confuse the issue, to distract us, to get us talking about something else, to herd us in a direction. That seems to be what they've been doing. They're not giving us any answers. They're playing us to be fools. And unfortunately, many of us are taking the bait. And I'm one of them. Okay. I've been on this story, on all of these stories, pretty much nonstop for the last 4 days. And it's annoying because there are other things that are happening in the world, other things that are happening in America that deserve attention. And yet this just keeps sucking me back in. Oh, some more drone news. It sucks. But it is news. It is a concern. We don't have answers. We need answers. And they're being extraordinarily aloof, more aloof than I think they've ever been in the past. Okay? So when a story gets out, when there's confirmation that things are happening, when things are accelerating the way that they have been with the drones for the last month and spiking in the last 3 or 4 days, well, that tells us that something crazy is happening. I don't know what that is. I think they do know what it is. At least I would hope they do. And they're not telling us. So is it possible that this really is just a power grab to try to get more control over the skies? Yes. Yes, I think that that's a possibility. I'll give it about 5% chance. But that will increase if we continue down this road. And especially if it appears they're going to try something really crazy. And again, I don't even want to talk about the possibility of them trying to use some sort of event and rules about continuity of government and prevent President Trump from coming in, prevent his cabinet from coming in, prevent the good guys from taking control and trying to fix our nation. If that's what this is, then look, it's time for another revolutionary war. There, I said it. I'm not calling for violence. Don't go get your militia groups down to go shoot something. But I am concerned, and I don't think the intention of that particular interview was to put our minds at ease. I think the intention was to make us even more skeptical, more concerned, more loud. They want us loud, apparently, because they're not doing anything to calm us down. Now, is it possible? I'll give us a very tiny chance that this administration is just so incompetent, so beaten, that maybe they just don't know how to calm us down. Maybe they really are just idiots, but it sure seems more likely that they know exactly what's going on with these so-called drones, and whatever it is, they desperately don't want us to know, at least not yet. Just a quick programming note, since some people have been asking. The answer to the question is yes. The question is, am I really spending a lot more time on X? Yes, I am. I was hesitant even after Elon Musk bought it. I've had my concerns about Elon Musk, but now I've gotten to the point where now that he's in the Trump administration, you know what? Fine. Let's go ahead and reluctantly but aggressively put a lot more eggs into the X basket. It is a great place to get feedback. I mean, I get more feedback there than I do on any of my other channels, so I do greatly appreciate that because I need it. This is how I'm able to craft the stories, not just the stories themselves, but how I pick the stories, which ones work, which ones don't. So check me out at JD Rucker, x.com / at JD Rucker. Actor Daniel Baldwin, who is the sane one of the Baldwin brothers, the conservative amongst the group, he came out with really a bombshell on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, saying that he's heard from attorneys who work for various people in and out of Hollywood that there is currently a bidding war for the Diddy tapes, the tapes that Sean Diddy Combs almost certainly has. Tapes, well, I guess he doesn't have them, he's in jail, but that his people have, or maybe they're not his people, maybe they're people that are associated with him who got their hands on the tapes. Bottom line is, there is a bidding war going on to try to get the tapes and either release them, which is almost certainly not the case, or to bury them and to make sure they never see the light of day, because there are allegedly some horrible things that took place at the Diddy parties, and that does include extremely powerful people. Same thing with Jeffrey Epstein. We can assume that on a global scale, with probably fewer Hollywood celebrities and more world leaders, that Jeffrey Epstein had the same basic concept. But one of the things that Baldwin had noted is that there were questions about whether or not he being Donald Trump would release them, and Baldwin had said that there's probably people that Trump knows who are on one or both of these lists, these groups of people, these sickos who participated in shenanigans on Epstein Island or the Lolita Express or at one of Diddy's infamous parties. Here's the thing. I don't care whose friend is who. I don't care who it is. It could be one of my relatives. If somebody's engaged in that type of activity, the type of activity that we assume is on there, this hideous, horrendous, evil, demonic activity, I don't care who it is. Expose them. I don't care if it was Donald Trump himself, and I'm certain that he's not on the list. But if he happened to be, expose him. Expose anybody. These are the sickest, most evil people in the world. Anyone who would engage in that type of activity needs to be punished in this life or the next. And I think we can make some assumptions about what will happen to them in the next life, but it sure would be nice to see justice done in this life as well.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving us with a ton of extra My Pillows. But you know what? That's their loss. I'm going to make it your gain. For the first time ever, you get standard classic My Pillows for wholesale prices, only $14.88. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, I'm going to offer my entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Upgrade to a queen size My Pillow for just $18.88. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use My Pillows for only $9.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on the screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever on TV, including my standard size My Pillow, only $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. We have limited quantities at this price, so limit's going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Whether you've been a prepper for a long time or maybe you're just getting started, you're just looking around and thinking how crazy it is, we usually cover the basics. You get your food, you get your water, you get your ammunition. Don't forget your ammo. You get your battery chargers, solar battery chargers, or whatever. But a lot of times I think people will forget their meds, okay? Whether it's chronic meds, antibiotics, I think a lot of people don't even realize that you can stock up on that stuff. They go to the doctor, they go to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist said, oh, here's your 2-month supply or whatever. Well, you can actually stock up on a lot of these meds by going to jdrucker.com/meds. You'll talk to the good folks over at Jace Medical. They can get you a 12-month supply of certain prescription drugs. They can get you emergency meds, all sorts of good stuff, things that you may or may not need, but it's always good to have it on hand because I guarantee you, even if you don't think you need it today, you might need it in the future. jdrucker.com/meds. A video went viral over the weekend that grabbed a lot of attention on TikTok, Instagram, and X. Not just because the claims about the drones were pretty bombshell and seemed to corroborate some of the previous claims as well, but because the source, the person delivering the message, seemed to be extremely credible. His name is John Ferguson. He is the CEO of Saxon Aerospace. I looked it up, checked him out, checked out the company. It's a legit company. It actually does have government contracts, at least according to its website and press releases that I found online. Okay, so here's a guy who seems to know what he's doing. And I was going to play it, right? But I'm not going to. Because it's 9 minutes, and I remember thinking to myself, I was just about to leave when I first saw the videos, and I thought, I need to do a TLDR, right? A too long didn't read version of it, because, again, he takes 9 minutes to do what should have taken about 45 seconds maybe. So I got home and was setting out to do it, and then I noticed that Andrew Gruel, the famed conservative chef here in Southern California, he actually did, and there's the guy, by the way, John Ferguson, but Andrew Gruel did his own TLDR, and his is actually shorter than mine would have been. He says, to summarize, 10 minutes, because again, this is a 9-minute video. Professional with drone experience, working with the military, has an inside source that says a nuke went missing from Ukraine. He thinks it's here in the U.S., and the drones are sniffing around for it, literally, by flying low and at night. Also, the guy who posted this will probably be in jail in 2 hours. Now, I did try to look him up. Like, I tried to find his TikTok account, where the video was originally posted. Couldn't find it. It's apparently gone. Couldn't find him on any other social media sites. So who knows? And we've seen this if he did, or if the post did disappear, other than the repost, which is what we got our hands on. But if the post did disappear, and perhaps even the user himself, John Ferguson, disappeared at least online, this would mark at least the third time somebody has put out information regarding drones and sniffing and nuclear bombs and everything, and the information was gone. That by itself is interesting, okay? And I always say, when you have a situation like this with all sorts of theories going out there, you have to be very careful. The deep state is extraordinarily smart. Sometimes they will, and when I say sometimes, pretty much every day, they will try to send conspiracy theorists like me down a rabbit hole that's false, and they'll do things that will get their attention. It'd be easy for me to say, well, this is the third one that disappeared, therefore it's almost certainly true. I can't say that, because if I were the deep state and and this theory wasn't true, but I wanted conspiracy theorists like JD Rucker out there chasing that one, what would I do? I would make those posts disappear to make me see, aha, we got you, you silly jerks. So, and it's disheartening. I get it, because we're all clamoring for more knowledge, more information about this. We want the facts. We want the truth. But even in hiding the truth, the government's wishes are being done. And when I say the government, what I'm really referring to in this case is likely the deep state and likely the globalist elite cabal. I'm not even sure if the Biden-Harris regime is aware of it. We already know Joe Biden isn't aware of it. We know that Kamala isn't paying any attention. She's still drinking her sorrows away. But the people in the administration who might normally know about such things, it is definitely possible that they don't. This might be above their pay grade, above top secret. Then again, it might be nothing. I want to be clear, because people have been reacting very aggressively towards every theory. Okay, it doesn't matter, and I've been posting a bunch for the last 4 or 5 days. It doesn't matter what the theory is. There's going to be those out there who are like, "Oh yeah, this is it. This makes sense." Then there's going to be others that try to debunk it. I actually had a video, I think it was late last week, where I was referring to heat signatures, and I messed up. Okay, I get it. I was saying that the drones, there's a Daily Mail article that showed that the drones weren't putting off a heat signature. Now that was inaccurate. Okay. I shouldn't have used the phrase heat signature, because everything has a heat signature, even if you can't detect it. What I should have said was it wasn't emitting enough heat to be detected by infrared scanners on the drones that were being used to hunt for these things, to look for them, right? But even that one misspeak, I mean, the comments, the people put in a lot of effort to say that it has a heat signature, ignoring the fact that the important part of the article, of the video that I made, the important part is there are drones out there that are in the air, apparently, that cannot be detected by infrared, which should be impossible for a drone that's with various sizes rumored to be, but I think the smallest one that people are saying was an 8-foot wingspan. Something of that size to be able to travel. We're not talking about like a lighter than air vehicle, like a hot air balloon, or I guess that would have a heat signature, but a helium balloon or anything like that, because it's maneuvering. They're maneuvering much faster, traveling much faster than what you could with a balloon, unless you had something propelling it. And if there's something propelling it, that means either battery or combustion engine, in which case it would be detectable by the infrared scanners. I hope you get the idea here. Yeah, but that important part was skipped over. There's a lot of passion surrounding this, and I get it. I totally understand. I am myself very, very concerned. I won't say scared, because I'm not. I trust in God's plan. And if this is something bad, then it's because something bad is coming our way. And we should be as ready as we can be, especially spiritually. But that's a discussion for another day. Lord willing, I'll have another day to have that important discussion. So back to the video by John Ferguson. He says that his friend, he didn't specify who, but his friend who has deep ties to information, said that a nuke from Ukraine went missing, and that they're trying to find it, right? And that's what they're using the drones for. And he went into a little bit of the science behind it, and it does make sense. It actually would explain why they would only be going out at night, which has been one of the points of interest in this story, is the fact that we're only seeing them at night. Why? Why is that the case? There's a lot of other theories, not just that one. But the sniffer theory seems to be one that is getting a lot of attention. I'm not going to say definitively, and I know I've talked about it, 2 or 3 times already today alone, but it makes sense. Now, there are those who will say, no, it absolutely doesn't make sense. I got a lot of comments saying, no, it's just a psyop. No, it's just a psyop. But I always have to remind people, really always do, but a lot of times I have to remind people, you can't just dismiss everything with, it's a psyop. There has to be a point. Now, I've thrown out one theory that the point, and this would make it a psyop, the point is to get people scared so that they are calling for and allowing for Department of Homeland Security to expand their powers over the skies, expand their powers over drones. Democrats have been calling for this for a long time, and it would make sense for that to be the case. The one point there that really confused me, at least, was why would they be going for that now? Okay, they're about to lose control of the Department of Homeland Security. Do they control Kristi Noem? Maybe. Do they plan to not leave office? Maybe. Or maybe they're just getting ready for a future event. Maybe they're looking to be able to control the DHS again in 2029. I don't know what their plan is, but it is a possibility that all of this is a psyop designed to do just that, to usher in or to renew the current status quo and even expand upon it. Chuck Schumer's been calling for that. Other Democrat lawmakers have been calling to expand upon the federal government's control over the skies. Okay, so there's a possibility there. I want to go back real quick to, this is I would say it's a mildly, how would I classify it? We'll say it's a relatively reliable source, only because they do have they have great research, they have great connections, and so that part makes sense. They have a tendency, and I'm referring to Next News Network, they have a tendency to sometimes jump the gun, so that's always possible. Take this with a grain of salt, but this does appear to corroborate what the other people are saying regarding the sniffers. This is a post, I believe it was on, what was this? I don't remember what day it was. Let's see. It's a long post. This was on the 14th, so that would be Saturday. Breaking, intel from verified high-level sources with top-secret special access clearance just dropped bombshell info to us on the mysterious drones being seen across the U.S. These are our drones, tracking gamma rays linked to possible WMDs in a massive counter-terror operation. The Office of Global Access, OGA, a shadowy three-letter agency, has deployed advanced surveillance assets to hunt for a stray nuke or mass casualty weapon hidden on the east and west coasts. Their mission objective, detecting communications tied to the device, partner with law enforcement for rapid response, prevent mass panic while advancing intel operations. The assets in play: low-altitude surveillance aircraft scanning for signals, special ops units ready for instant action, cyber intel teams analyzing terror networks. Sources say they could involve a submarine breach of our SOSUS warning nets or a WMD hidden in a cargo container or vehicle. The stakes are high, and the government's silence speaks volumes. They fear public panic. OGA's advanced ISR, I would say the vast majority of my audience is very hopeful for the future. Low and slow aerial monitoring has been just already. We're seeing shock. My source warns we're already seeing results. Dirty bombs are worse at this early stage, but there are still concerns. This is an active operation. Going to do everything safety on the line. Vast power being kept from us. What is really happening to protect our nation? More to come. To defend the Constitution. To uncover. To protect our freedoms. And again, that doesn't mean that there won't be on these guys. They're doing fantastic work. We're already seeing, but with that said, wars popping up and rumors of wars popping up across the globe. Will he be able to stop all of them? I think so. What if he can't? There seems to be only two viable possibilities. Cooler heads don't prevail, and we find all of the various rumors in the midst of something tragic. What about natural disasters? What about trying to track down, making sure that idiocy there's not just like one source regime rumor and everybody's latching onto that and saying, "Oh my gosh," that are trying to do everything they can on the same information. No, it appears that there have been at least, they want to control the food, at least 4 sources. They want to make sure that we're not eating with insider information as it pertains to intel information, intel knowledge, specifically as it pertains to beef. 4 sources. Cows seem to be the main culprit for every boogeyman. They are propagating bad guy out, whatever they are, as a part owner sniffers going after an all-American patriotic nuclear device, freeze-dried steak company. I am very blessed, pleased, and honored to be able to offer my wonderful audience
Either
an
it's
opportunity to take
close
advantage.
to accurate or accurate.
If you go to
okay?
worldviewbeef.com,
That's option one. Or option two
and
is
use promo code
that the
JDR, you will
misinformation is
get
being
the
fed out there because
maximum
they're hiding their
possible
true
discount. And there are
intention.
other discount codes
The-
out there
the actual
that are less. It's not
mission
like with
itself
certain companies where, it doesn't
is-
matter which promo code
is
you use.
something very
use JDR.
different
I own the
from
company.
what they're
use promo code
describing.
JDR and get the
So-
maximum discount at
So stay
any
frosty,
given moment at worldviewbeef.com.
But again, I can't stress
All
this
American.
enough.
No
There's need to
mRNA
panic.
jabs.
Be ready for this.
It's just the good
That's a
stuff.
good
So-
thing.
So check it out.
To be ready and prepared
worldviewbeef.com.
and to have all your ducks in a row and to be ready to head for the hills. I'm out here on the West Coast. I'm going to be contacting a relative in the middle of the country just to make sure, hey, man, you got a couple beds just in case. Yeah, and that's something that by the way, that's not something, you're scared of the drones, so you're going to skip town. No, but you should always be ready to skip town, especially if you live in a city or near a city as I do, especially when you're near like 3 cities. And where I live, it is pretty ugly, or it can get pretty ugly if things were to go south. So just being ready, being prepared, having a plan. A plan is everything. You can have all the resources, all the food, water, ammunitions, Bibles, meds. You can have everything you need, but if you don't have a plan to use them and you haven't tested out your preps, as they call them, then they might turn out to be useless. You might be stockpiling for somebody better prepared to come along and take them from you. Not fear-mongering here, once again. Just stating what I believe to be the obvious truth. So so stay frosty. If you have any knowledge, any ideas, any theories, the best way to get that to me, and I've gotten a couple of these already, is to either go to my X account, x.com/JD Rucker. I have open DMs. So, and I read every DM, even if a Nigerian prince thinks that I'm pretty and wants to send me money and get my bank account. But I do at least read through them all. I try to reply to as many of them as I can. The other way, if you're not on X or you don't like sending through there, if you want to use email, just go to jdrucker.com/talk jdrucker.com/talk, and that will come directly to me. After Trump was elected president, I received a couple of communications from people. One via phone, text, and the other one via Twitter, X, direct message. People asking me, "Hey, now that Trump's back in office, is the economy going to get better?" And I said, "Yeah, in some ways it definitely will. Obviously, I mean, just Trump's presence alone will have a dramatic impact on the economy, and it will take things to the next level. But with that said, the threats still remain. Trump, Harris, didn't matter. They're still pushing, they being the powers that be, are still pushing for central bank digital currencies. They're still pushing for de-dollarization and the rise of BRICS. They're still pushing for the advancement of a worldwide economy. And while Trump will do everything in his power to prevent that, to at least slow it down, some of it is not within even the power of the United States of America itself. And this is why there is no reason, you can see by the gold prices, there's no reason to doubt physical precious metals as a proper way to hedge against what is coming, because it's still coming. There were certain scenarios that would have happened if Kamala Harris had won, and there are certain scenarios that will happen now that President Trump has won, and those scenarios still point in the same exact direction. That's the reason why even central banks are still buying up as much gold and silver as possible. That's why banks, financial institutions are recommending to their people, buy as much gold and silver as possible. I work with a faith-driven gold company. There are a lot of gold companies out there that get recommended by hosts. The one that I like happens to be driven by faith, and they actually do a tremendous job versus the competition. You can check out Genesis Gold Group by going to rumblegold.com. That's rumblegold.com, or read my testimony over at jdrucker.com/gold. Elon Musk and X are getting into the email game, and I'll admit there's some alarm bells going off. Look, I trust the guy. I'm at about 70 or 80% on him. He's demonstrated that he's willing to fight. He's willing to participate with the good guys and fight against the bad guys, right? He's been pushing some very good ideas, and Doge, I'm very excited about what they'll be able to do. But here's the thing.
there are still hints of globalism in him. There are still hints of authoritarianism in him. He is still very well connected with many of the bad guys out there. And he's wicked smart. I know that if I were wanting to help the globalists to take over the world by placating, pacifying, even in many ways controlling and driving the narrative for the right across the globe, not just here in America, but across the globe, I would be doing exactly what Elon Musk is doing. I'd be building up the goodwill. They've got plenty of bad guys on the left that can guide people, the Soroses of the world, who can guide the left down their globalist path, and they're easy to do that because it's easy to do that to them because they're sheep. But for us, we need a little bit more complex, I guess, manipulation, and Elon Musk would be that guy. I'm not accusing him. I'm just saying I'm still at about 70 or 80%. And when I say that he's wicked smart, what would I do if I had everything that he had and I was trying to fight for the globalists? I'd probably try to get into your inbox, which is exactly what appears to be happening. A post by Mario Nawfal, which Elon Musk agreed with, said, Xmail streamlining your inbox. Picture this, an email address that feeds straight into a clean, DM-style inbox, ditching the tangled mess of threads and formatting disasters we've all grown to hate. Xmail would keep what's great about email, universal compatibility, and scraps the rest. No extra apps, no endless contact lists, just simple, seamless communication. Because honestly, why are we still suffering through email like it's 1999? And Elon had replied with, that's exactly what we are going to do. Now, one thing that is noteworthy is that nothing that I've seen so far, and maybe it's going to happen, I'm not saying it won't happen, but I haven't heard the claims to privacy. I haven't heard them talking about, we want an email that does not have advertising, okay? I pay for Proton Mail specifically because I want the privacy. I want my emails to be as private and secure as possible without going into, really super complex techie style ways of doing it. I want a secure email that I know that government is hopefully, Lord willing, isn't spying on. Now you might say that's naive, but look, Proton Mail is as close as I've found to being able to do that. Maybe they do it perfectly, maybe they do it mostly, maybe they don't do it at all. But at least I have the peace of mind of that illusion, keeping me thinking that my emails are secure. I'd like to hear Elon and X talking more about email privacy, because we do know that government has demonstrated time and again that they are spying on our emails. We've seen foreign actors, including North Korea, China, Iran. We've seen them spying on our emails. We know that our information is pretty easy to hack. And so I would love for X, if they are going to get into the email world, I would love for them to do whatever it takes to make our emails more secure, because I know a whole lot of people are still on Gmail, which is a disaster. It's like you might as well just give away all your information and say, please, oh please, advertise to me, control my thoughts. Gosh, I really don't like Google. But I do like X, which is where I want you to follow me. If you're not following me yet, please do. At JD Rucker, x.com, at JD Rucker. Lord willing, I'll be back very soon with another episode. But in the meantime, y'all stay strong, stay safe, and God bless.